Hi, welcome to another lawnfawn video. Today we're working with Bake Me a Cake from lawnfawn, and we're going to be doing some paper piecing. So this is a beautiful piece of paper from American Crafts Dear Lizzie line, and I'm stamping the frilly cake plate on it now so that I can have kind of a cool yellow cake plate. And the next thing I'm doing is stamping the largest bottom cake tier level on that flower, and it's going to give it a really cool pattern. It won't look floral. Look different pattern. This is some text paper from 7 Gypsies, and I'm stamping the middle tier of the cake on that. And then we're going to be working up to the next tier. Excuse me, I had to kind of like congested. Anyways, here's some My Mind's Eye paper from the Quite Contrary line, and we're stamping the top tier on this piece. So it's kind of going to be a fun color combination from Embellish's challenge this week, which is coral, yellow, and brown. And so right now I'm going to be cutting out the cake plate, and what everyone's always told me, and it really works, is you move the paper, not the scissors. And so I went off screen a little there, but you can see I'm having the paper move in those little scallop shapes as opposed to my scissors. So just fast forward it a little bit, and now I'm cutting out the rest of the little cake plate. And now I'm just going to share a little tip with you that helps me kind of make my paper pieced objects look a little more finished. I take a Copic marker, but I think you could use any type of marker, and I run it along the edges of my cutout pieces. So if I stamped a brown and brown, stamped a blue, blue, black, black, etc. And so I just run it across, and I let the shape of the object kind of dictate where my marker goes. So you'll see under the scallops, I kind of just let it follow the scallop as opposed to kind of forcing it, because once you force it, then you'll end up drawing all over your paper piece, which is what I do all the time. So trust me, just like let it flow, very zen outlining here with the marker. And it really, as you can see there, it looks a lot more finished than it did before. At least I think so. So this is my tip on paper piecing these cake tiers from Bake Me a Cake. Extend your cut a little bit farther down the bottom, and then you can hide that underneath, and the tiers will then look like they're really tiered instead of just stacked on top of each other. So I think it's kind of a fun look. So as you can see right there, I'm just extending that cut, and when I hear it, you'll see how it's hidden. So just trying to go around that edge there, and you'll see right now I'm going to kind of put it underneath the cake plate, and that's how it's going to look. So right now I'm just cutting out the top of the cake and getting ready to go, and then I'm going to line all of these with the Copic marker again to have that same finished look that I gave to the cake plate. So right now I just die cut a Labels 4 Nestability shape, and I'm using a Waltzing Mouse stamp set. I think it's called a Vintage Labels number 4, and it matches with the Spellbinders Labels 4 dies. It's really cool. And I'm using Antique Linen ink, and I'm going to stamp it, and once again the back of my head. Oh my goodness, drives me nuts. Ugh, can't believe it. Frizzy hair. Okay, so I'm just stamping. You're going to see when I lifted it, I ended up not stamping it very well. I don't think I put the ink on very well, so I just flipped it over and re-stamped it. And right now I'm going to be stamping the cake plate, and there's the back of my head. This whole time I thought I was doing so well and that the back of my head wasn't in the video at all. I was so proud of myself until I actually plugged in the camera and saw what I had done. But what I'm doing is stamping all the layers of the cake, because I think it's easier with paper piecing to have sort of a guide to go off of, to make sure everything lines up, at least for me. As you know, you guys, I like to be really, I need kind of the help in lining things up, so I like to just stamp everything out, and it gives a nice edge to, when you do glue the pieces down. So I'm just laying the piece down. Now I'm just inking that bottom tier. Frizzy hair, ugh. And right now you're going to see what I do is as I've told you before, I put the piece down and then pick it up with the block. And that's the best way to retain the shape of these stamps. So I'm just stamping that, and then we're going to stamp the top tier. Once again, I'm going to have it laying down on my work surface and then picking it up with the block and then stamping the top tier. So now I'm actually stamping the heart from the set, and in part of that coral colored flower again, and then we're going to work on just putting some adhesive on the cake layers. We're going to start with the top layer, and I'll be able to fit it right into that piece that I stamped. And there's the top of my head again. Oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing. I feel so bad. Okay, so we're moving on to the next piece now. We're going to adhere that down and skip forward, and you can see how the pieces are going over top of each other. So now here's this bottom piece. I'm just making sure my adhesive kind of went over the edge. I'm just rolling it over. I like that ATG gun adhesive because you can do that, because I always tend to do that. It's June gloom here in Southern California, which means slightly humid weather, which means my hair goes insane. And of course I'm showing it to the world. But right now we're looking at the bottom of the cake plate. I think it's kind of hard to put adhesive on such a small thing, and I wanted the cake bake to be slightly popped up but not a full like dimensional like a foam adhesive. So I'm just taking a glue dot and just rolling it in my fingers between my index finger and thumb and placing it on the two outer edges. And it'll give it a slight dimension, and it'll make it just a little bit easier to adhere. You could also use glue too, but I like that little extra dimension. And I didn't want to cut out that little the little knob underneath the cake plate, so I knew I could just match it with a Copic marker. So I'm just going to fill that in now. And of course, wrong end. I do that every time, even though there's the gray strip is on the brush tip. And I tell myself that every time, but I still forget. Right now I'm just, I took another rolled up glue dot and put it underneath the heart and put that there. And then I die cut a larger labels for out of that same My Mind's Eye yellow polka dotted paper to kind of frame that. And then right now I'm doing my cheapy ribbon thing where I run adhesive down the card and just wrap the edges around as opposed to wrapping the entire thing around the card. I'm sure some people are cringing right now that I do this, but it's just how I do it. I guess for some reason I don't like to spend lots of money on ribbon. I'd rather spend it on papers and stamps. Right now I just put a piece of score tape down. I'm going to be getting out some American Crafts Dear Lizzie ribbon that matches that same coral color and putting it down over that strip. Now at the time I didn't realize that my strip of score tape was wider than my ribbon. So I'm putting it down right now, and right now I'm thinking, oh goodness, okay, what am I going to do? Well, my solution to having too much adhesive is to put glitter on it. Because glitter kind of soaks up the adhesive, and glitter's always fun. So that's where I'm going to go next with this. And it actually ends up looking really cool. So I'm kind of glad I did this. I might do it again. So I'm using some of the Martha Stewart Crystal Fine glitter, and I actually have a bigger one, and I couldn't find it. It would have been easier to use. But this is from that glitter pack that they have at Michael's, and I'm sure other places too. But it had all the pretty colors, and it was on sale, and I just had to have it. So right now I'm just kind of tapping out the glitter. It kind of works like a spice bottle, so you kind of have to tap it to get it all out. And then you're going to see I'm going to press it into the score tape adhesive just to kind of hold the glitter down. So I'm just kind of rubbing it into that adhesive to make sure it's on there. And once I rub it in, I'm just going to tap off the excess. And then I do it on a scratch paper so I can put it back into the bottle. And right now I'm using from Scrap Perfect. They have this cleaning cloth. I think it's scrapperfect.com. And it really helps removing glitter and like excess embossing powder, things like that. So just kind of running it around my card and making sure the glitter is off of it. Right now I'm just putting some foam adhesive on the cake piece and putting that on the larger die cut piece. And then I'm going to put some more foam adhesive to adhere it to the card. And we're just going to fast forward through that little part there. And then I'm going to do my whole, paranoid stamper thing and make sure that it's perfectly aligned. And there's my frizzy June gloom hair again. One day I'm going to learn how to not get my hair in this image. I seriously apologize for that. But I'm just lining up my image now, and you can see, like, as you can see, there's been like little pieces of stuff all around, like flowers and crocheted flowers and cut out flowers and trinkets, and I decided not to put them on the card because this is for my parents' 31st wedding anniversary, and I wanted my dad to be able to enjoy the card too, so I kind of tried to leave the girly to a minimum, even though it's still girly. But just rounding the bottom corners to give it a little bit of interest with my corner chomper, which I really love. And right there's just a close-up on the paper piecing so that you can see it and the full card. I actually tried to tape this technique yesterday and forgot to press record and did a whole video without pressing record. So I wanted to show you that too. Here's a cake made with sassafras paper for a birthday card. And here's the full card. So thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day.